My name is Terry Philpott, and I am the Director of Practicum Education for Concord's social work programs. Thank you so much for being willing to help us educate and train our Bachelor's of Social Work students here at Concord. The mission of the BSW Practicum program at Concord University is built upon a systems approach and a strengths perspective delivered in a manner that meets the needs of students that live primarily and or work primarily in rural areas. Practicum instruction is an integral part of the social work education curriculum. It engages the student in a supervised practice activity, providing opportunities for the student to apply knowledge, values, and skills in relation to identified client needs, agency purpose, and social sanctions. In other words, it connects the theoretical and conceptual contribution of the classroom with the practical world of the practice setting. You will be provided with an electronic copy of the BSW Practical Manual when this training video link is mailed to you. Additionally, this email will have a post-test attached that you should complete and return to me immediately upon your completion of this training video. As students learn from their social work placements, the knowledge, attitudes, and skills acquired from all areas of the curriculum are translated into accountable performance and professional competence. Students will be provided with a generalist experience in their practicum placement agencies. This means that the student will have the practicum placement, which will include working at the micro or individual level, meso or family and group level, and macro, organizational and community level of intervention. Assignments at each of these levels of practice are intended to help the student to integrate theory into practice. The primary relationship between you, the practicum instructor, and the student intern is supported by an assigned faculty liaison who will visit the agency at least twice during the fall, spring, or summer block placement. At Concord University, our BSW faculty liaison is Professor Mary Hoke. Students will also participate in online integrative seminars with their faculty liaison while they are engaged in practicum. The curriculum of the Bachelor of Social Work program is designed to prepare social workers that are able to demonstrate competence in generalist social work practice methods. Practicum roles and responsibilities of the practicum instructor. The practicum instructor is the agency employee formally assigned to supervise and instruct the student during the practicum placement. The agency practicum instructor plays the single most critical role in a successful practicum placement and often leaves a lifelong impression on the new social worker. This individual must have an MSW or BSW degree with at least 2 years of professional experience. The student will often model his or her role of practitioner from their observations of the practicum instructor. As stated previously, the practicum instructor is required to have an MSW degree or a BSW degree, as well as a minimum of 2 years experience in the practicum agency. Ideally, the practicum instructor will set aside 1 hour per week or 2 hours every other week for uninterrupted time for supervising the student. This time is often spent negotiating the learning contract, critiquing the student's process recordings, case reviews, and class assignments, including discussing the student's competency thesis, as well as completing the midterm and final evaluations and participating in conferences with the faculty liaison. The following list of activities and responsibilities represent the commitment made by practicum instructors and practicum agencies. 1. To provide space and adequate, appropriate working conditions. 2. To provide orientation regarding the purpose and function of the agency and the community and population the agency serves. Additionally, the problems in which the agency deals with is also included, as well as the major methods of intervention utilized by the agency. The practicum instructor, faculty liaison, and the student in placement will negotiate a contract which will delineate the objectives and the goals of the practicum placement for each individual BSW student. The practicum instructor also will provide a written evaluation of the student at midterm and at the conclusion of the practicum. They will assign appropriate tasks to the student with a gradual increase in complexity and responsibility, and provide a broad range of agency experiences. You should also provide opportunity for the student to participate in staff meetings, conduct research, attend agency conferences, and staff meetings. Additionally, you can provide guided reading related to social work practice issues faced by your host agency. Students should also be provided any reimbursement of expenses incurred in the course of performing their practicum duties for the agency. We ask that you, the practicum instructor, be available for conferences and provide access to information needed by the student to perform assigned tasks. And finally, we ask you to maintain an ongoing communication with our faculty liaison, Professor Hoke. As we previously said, the practicum instructor should meet 1 hour weekly or 2 hours every other week with their practicum student to process their activities, assignments, and experiences within their practicum and how these fit into the 9 social work competencies and their practice behaviors. In appreciation for your services to Concord University social work programs, all practicum instructors can enroll in free continuing education trainings or CEU trainings offered through the university during the semesters that you are actively supervising practicum students. Remember, they are free of charge. The faculty liaison, as stated previously at Concord University's BSW program, is Professor Mary Hoke. Her role is to ascertain that the practicum placement is proceeding appropriately. This is done primarily through on-site visits with the student and practicum instructor at the beginning and end of the practicum placement. The faculty liaison is the first person that you, the practicum instructor, and or practicum students should call if they have concerns or questions over the progress of the placement. If this does not result in satisfactory resolution, they should call the faculty liaison first. If it doesn't result, as stated previously, in a satisfactory resolution, please feel free to then call the practicum director and or the program chair. In the BSW program, our program chair is Dr. Joan Pendergast. Please remember, it is the faculty liaison who assigns the grade of pass or fail to the practicum student. This is done utilizing your evaluation as the practicum instructor and any comments from you, the practicum instructor, or any social work faculty familiar with the student's work and behavior in practicum. The faculty liaison works with the student and agency once the student has been placed. The student carries a significant responsibility for having a successful placement experience. During the practicum, the student will participate actively in defining his or her learning objectives by facilitating development of the practicum placement contract, The student will abide by the policies and procedures of the host agency. Additionally, the student is responsible for notifying the agency and you, the practicum instructor, of any unavoidable absences in sufficient time for the agency to be able to prepare for necessary service coverage. If the absence is longer than 1 day in duration, the student should also notify the faculty liaison. The student will observe the agreed upon hours for the agency and be punctual in carrying out work assignments and agreed upon responsibilities. The student should make full use of the learning opportunity by taking an active role in designing work activities. They will be maintaining weekly logs and process recordings as required by the faculty liaison. They will also complete a competency thesis as detailed in the guidelines provided within the practicum manual. The students will also be expected to abide by the Code of Ethics of the National Association of Social Workers and be responsible for obtaining their own medical insurance in case of injury on the site. Student learning is assessed by your observations and on the 9 social work competencies. Students should work a predetermined number of hours each week in order to end field with the required total number of hours as established by the Council of Social Work Education, or the CSWE. For the Bachelor's of Social Work program, a full-time practicum student will work your agency's equivalent of full-time hours, whether it be 40 hours a week or 37.5 hours a week, or whatever number of hours your agency determines to be full-time. The practicum director will determine the appropriateness of agencies for practicum placements. I work with student applications and placing students within the agency. This includes getting all of the appropriate paperwork completed and signed by agency personnel. The final decision on all practicum placements is the responsibility of the practicum director. Each agency participating will complete a contract with the social work program. This contract is called an affiliation agreement. The following criteria will be used in the selection of practicum placement agencies. The main function of the agency will be social work, or social work is an ancillary service such as in a hospital setting. The agency will have opportunities available in micro, meso, and macro practice settings to educate the student as a generalist social worker. The agency can offer structured learning experiences that provide for A, direct practice with client systems of various sizes and types, B, opportunities to utilize agency and community resources, and C, interaction with other community services and professionals. The majority of the student's time at the agency will be spent with the client system, whether it be individuals, families, groups, or communities. The employees of the agency are committed to the need for professional education for the practice of social work. The agency must have adequate workspace available for the student, and the student will have the opportunity to interact with other staff members. The agency can allow sufficient time and support to the practicum instructor to enable instruction and supervision of the student's work. Many practicum instructors will often ask what types of activities should the BSW social work practicum students be doing. Activities such as assessments, intakes, case management functions, shadowing, and other duties as assigned. Please remember, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. My contact information is listed on the last slide of the PowerPoint. Thank you all once again, and thank you for helping us educate and train the next generation of social workers. Goodbye.